Death Watch.
Okay, welcome back. So Rohan had been bitten by a venomous viper. And Casimir and Graham had an encounter with a massive constrictor snake. But there's no sign of either of those snakes now. After having taken enough damage, the constrictor slithered off into the trees. And the viper didn't seem interested in giving chase to Rohan. You still right now can hear the sounds of a titanic battle off from the direction Rohan ran from, with between some pig and a cat. So what would you like to do?
I think we were heading back to rest and eat, or eat and rest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's getting, what is it? It's past midday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's getting close to night.
It's close to dusk, yeah.
So I was thinking we head back and we start a big smoky fire and keep that kind of as a signal. And then we'll try looking if the rocks are able to fly tomorrow.
I also need to do an attempt to heal this venomous snake bite.
I can amputate it for you.
No.
You don't want peg leg?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll heal you, Justin.
But you need to sneak attacks on, right?
No, like the heal skill.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a 1 rank to it.
I have a -2.
Maybe you can aid me.
I have a +0.
Yeah, I got a +4 altogether.
I think you're going to have to do it on your own.
That's kind of what I expected.
I mean, I can try to aid.
All right, Rohan, we're going to have to set the bone back in place. It's not broken.
Just hold still. It's not moving.
And then you cauterize it, and then you'll have to wear a bandage over your eyes for 4 days.
After what I went through in the storm, I probably need the bandage anyway.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to head back to the beach and start a giant smoky bonfire. Everyone in agreement with that for a signal?
That works.
And it'll be lighting for us in the night, too. Keep
Oh.
that going.
And what's our watch order absent one of us? This could be real risky for you guys.
Well, we could put you in the middle, and so I'll start first watch alone, then wake you up for part of it, and then you'll
do one of
finish.
those
Staggered
ones?
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's not like we need too long.
Yeah, just 4 hours, and then you need 8.
I need an additional 4 to prepare, yeah. But if I'm not preparing spells because I haven't used any, I don't need that. I believe they're retained. I'll have to double check sometime. For now, it's just...
So we can go... You can get your trance in first with Rohan awake.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll wake me up at some point. And then I'll wake you up, or we'll wake you up, and then you can do your studying, and I'll be the active watcher. Right, so you get the rest or whatever you need.
Yeah, sure.
You got that, Brandon?
No, what did you say?
So Rohan's taking the first watch. I'll be in the middle with Casimir at the end.
Okay.
Although it's sort of staggered to ensure that I don't fall asleep and our party meets with disaster.
Okay.
And before we go to bed, I'm going to try a heal check to see if I can do something to negate the poison.
Want me to try to aid you?
Nah.
I'll drink a potion before bed as well.
Thirsty.
I think it's an addiction. Thank you. It's just to help me sleep.
These were +5. Oh. What an abysmal heal.
Let's see if I would have been able to heal or aid you there, Justin. Nope.
Alright, so here's my heal check.
And this is for your bird?
No, this is to try and help me with the poison. I'm trying to remember. I think that I can take that as my... John, you've done this before.
You get a bonus on your fort save or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so To treat poison means to tend a single character who has been poisoned and who is going to take more damage from the poison or suffer some other effect. Every time the poison character makes a saving throw, you make a heal check. The poison character uses your check result or his or her saving throw, whichever is higher.
Okay.
So it would have been versus the poison's DC.
Yeah.
All right, so before you guys can even set out back to make this camp, you'll need to make your secondary save.
Oh, okay. So
It's
I don't
one-
have time to.
It's
do the
1
heal check.
minute later. But you can do your heal check before it, so you can use heal or your fort save, whichever one is better.
Okay, that heal check was to
20.
heal, and then so I would roll my fort save, and whichever one was higher, I use.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a good
glad.
thing you did that heal,
Yeah.
or you would have failed it.
Yeah, I most definitely would have.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't take any secondary damage.
Yeah.
But you still feel really drained, really fatigued.
Okay.
Even more so than you already were. Okay. So, yeah, you go back to the beach
Yeah.
and you see your rocks there huddled together up against the rock face, huddled together and sleeping. There's what was it, a dolphin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we picked up.
Yeah, so that's still on the beach. They haven't even touched it. They were so tired they fell asleep.
Yeah, I believe that I dragged it over to him, but
Yeah.
we have only been gone like what, a couple, at most maybe an hour to get
Yeah.
that far into the jungle. We didn't even go that far in.
Yeah.
So yeah, guess I'll go along the edge of the jungle area, or maybe driftwood. Yeah, I guess driftwood could work too. I need a mix of dry and wet or green
Yeah.
woods. That way we can make this bonfire big enough and smoky enough.
Okay. Yeah, so that'll take you another hour to gather up all the wood you need.
Does anybody have any food on them? I think the bag of holding was with Fenrith, and I don't carry any.
I thought he had divided up a portion
Yeah.
for our...
Oh, on our birds.
Everybody
Oh,
should
okay.
have at least 5 days
Okay.
on the bird.
But
and then
worse comes
I
to
was
worse.
going to make food for
You had
everybody.
that dolphin.
Well, we have the dolphin, but we also have crabs all over this beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do a survival check and see if I can gather food for tonight, just from the crabs or.
Well, if you think about it, it might be preferable rather than eating the type of food that comes in our rations, you know, because it's...
Well, this is what we eat normally, probably.
Yeah.
So we probably know how to prepare this pretty
Right.
good.
You gonna help me in survival, or you
Sure.
want to help with gathering firewood?
Yeah, I'll help you.
Okay. Should have just let you do it. All right. So I got +2 already added.
Nice.
So we eat like kings tonight. That's enough for 7 people.
We got
Shot to Fenrith gnawing on a rock and a twig.
we got so much crab, we're just like wasting it.
I only like to eat the second leg on the left side. The rest is
This is the
junk.
best.
Let's take a bite out of one of their claws, and left claw's no good.
Yeah, so another hour for you guys, and you gather up all the crabs and mussels and whatever that you want to eat. Enough to fill your bellies, for sure. And while you're doing that, Casimir gets that fire going, so you guys all enjoy a nice feast. Let's see, Fenrith.
Life's better without Fenrith.
What is your...
And I wasn't immediately pronounced dead.
Yeah, and he didn't try to create any of that weird food or telekinetic or telepathy us or...
You continue to sleep.
All right, I'll mark down that I gain hit points back. Is it safe to do so, Brandon?
Right, so we're doing watches. Now, who was doing first?
Rohan.
I was doing first.
Rowan, you roll a will save into the tower.
If you fall asleep, I swear to God, you're sleeping with the fishes.
Now, Do you have fatigued?
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah, we're all fatigued.
All right.
And the giant constrictor snake is wounded.
I would love to have eaten that thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in your watch, you have a little bit of trouble. You're so tired, and the poison's still in your body, so it's hard for you to stay awake. To make it worse, the ocean is loud and right there, and that's the only sound you hear, and it threatens to knock you out. But
Plus, we're full.
and you're full. But you managed to stay awake for your watch.
Yay. So about halfway through my watch, I'll wake up Graham to be on watch with me.
Okay.
And then when Rohan ends his watch, we're going to wake up.
Well, you guys remember, any who's injured, this is not a reverie.
Oh, we got to
Anybody who's
sleep,
injured,
sleep. That's
needs
right.
Sleep.
I thought you had forgotten about that.
Well,
All right, we got to reorganize it then.
All right, I'll just do the first 4 hours, let you guys sleep.
Okay.
Well, I can do the first 4 hours while you guys sleep, and then,
I'm not hurt.
well, I can take the next 4 hours while you do your meditation.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. But I was just saying, like, we only all need 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Once you guys get your 4 hours, you'll be fine, and so just go for it. Get your
Well, no, don't we need the full night with the wounds? Is
for
that-
your wounds.
You
Yeah.
need to sleep like a human when you're wounded.
Yeah, so Rohan and I need the full 8.
All right, so then,
I can take the first 4 at least
okay.
to give him
Yeah.
the rest he needs.
All right, so you stayed awake. Now you wake up Casimir
Am I still fatigued?
to do your watch. Hang on. Let me check something. Right, so no. You're no longer fatigued after... Well, you need 8 hours of complete rest to lose your fatigue.
I am so fatigued.
Does the same requirements for his preparation count as...
I don't need to prepare. I haven't used any spells.
Oh, okay.
So they should still be there.
But once you wake up, like if after my 4 hours and his 4 hours, you could let him rest while I finish my sleep.
Yeah.
Well, as long as nothing occurs and he doesn't do anything, that'll count to get rid of the fatigue if he just sits there. If he goes and gets in a fight with something, then it won't. But anyways, Casimir, so you look out and now you've got a bright moon and bright stars, and it gives the whole beach that bluish glow. And that's all you hear, as well as the ocean, just the sound of wave after wave. And it's you're so tired. You got such a big fire and the windbreak at your back that creates this nice little warm bubble. So it's hard for you to stay awake too. So make a will save into the tower.
All right. If I fall asleep, I swear to God, I'm sleeping with the fishes.
I don't know,
Wake
out of
up
the
to-
3 of us, I think you're the only one that hasn't at some point.
Yeah, well, then it's bound to happen. Also, I'm usually never on watch. I kind of, I think Adina learned from Casimir how to avoid watches.
Okay. So
Well, if you give me the last one, then maybe I won't have to make that same test. Probably I'll still have to make that same test.
all right. So Casimir, your eyes snap open.
Dang it.
And it's bright. It's past dawn. Tide's coming in at this point. More animals are skittering across, and seabirds are dive bombing the crabs. There's a nice wind. It's very windy today, but it's a warm wind. And Rohan and Graham, they're sleeping peacefully in their spots. Your birds are all still sleeping, all 3 of them. Though some bites have been taken out of the dolphin.
Okay, that's good.
So the play here, then, Casimir, is to wake me up as though it's my watch and don't tell me otherwise.
No,
and then
no.
when I wake Rohan up, he'll think it was my fault.
No,
Or
the
just
po-
say
the
he
ploy
was
here-
sleeping so peacefully,
Yeah.
you just
I just let you
decided to
sleep.
take
Yeah.
the rest of it.
Oh, there you go.
I was so concerned that you were both injured and you needed a full night's rest, so I took all the watch.
Just
Is the,
remember to
bonfire
yawn
still going?
occasionally.
No, it's died down.
All right. I guess I'll get that going,
Okay.
and then I'll wake them up and figure out what we are going to do today.
Okay. So Fenrith, your eyes pop open, and you can tell it's day, although it's still really dark where you're at because of the tree cover. And looking ahead of you, you see a snake that is sort of standing up. So it's about as big around as your waist at its thickest point, and it's got this massive hood spread wide, and it's looking right at you. And next to you, the reason you woke up is because your rock, she's like pulling you back under her with her wing, and she's looking at this snake. And the first thing you see when you snap your eyes open after you feel her moving you, the snake strikes, and you're still blurry-eyed and tired and just shaking off sleep, but somehow now the rock has this snake by the head in her talons. And as you piece it together, you know that she somehow is so fast that when this snake struck, she just stuck her talon up and caught its head. But now you look, and she's standing on it on the ground, and its back goes for 20 feet into the under, and it's thrashing around. And she's just giving it that sideways cocked head look that birds do.
Are these eat just like a normal predator type bird, right? Where they still just tear into things alive?
Yeah, they'll eat anything. But that's what you wake up to.
Okay.
So you're not fatigued anymore.
I gained my 7 hit points.
Yeah, you gain your 7 hit points, and you're not fatigued any longer. What do you want to do? So yeah, the snake is just taking its time dying, but you look at its head, and her talons, the middle talon is all the way through its head.
Okay.
You can see its fangs sticking out, and poison's just leaking off of them, or venom, sorry. But she doesn't seem concerned about it. I mean, you look at her, and all of the healing magic that you did had a noticeable effect, although she's clearly still injured. But
I thought I'd gotten it to full because I used all of it.
You got her just about up to full.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the evidence of wounds is still there.
Oh,
There's
okay.
areas where bone broke through skin and the feathers haven't regrown and still dried blood all over her, things of that nature. But she's obviously able to fight venomous snakes. So.
All right. Well, as long as it looks like she's got it under control, I'll let her deal with that and start my prayers for spells.
Okay.
And then afterwards, I want to check out that harness.
Okay.
So
Pray to the snake.
yeah.
Right. Well, while you're doing your praying, she starts eating, and rather than just swallow it whole, she picks at it carefully and gets all the meat off of it. So, what's left behind is the bone stretching, 15 feet into the undergrowth, and the head. Yeah. So then, in short order, you've done your prayers, and your leg's still broken, like. The potion you took
That's right.
gave hit points back, and it sealed up like cuts and stuff. But in the case of broken bones, what I'll rule is that it sets it, but it doesn't actually heal it. So if you do anything wild, you'll re-break it.
Yeah, I'll have to cure myself.
Yeah. Yeah, so you were near death. You still feel near death. So, yeah, I did it. All right.
All right, yeah. So I'll do cure critical and then a cure serious, so a fourth and a third,
Okay.
and then if that seems to mend that bone,
Yeah.
then I'll like I said, once she's done eating, I'll try and get a take a look at that harness
All right.
and see what I can do with that.
Do you have mend on your list?
Yeah, I didn't change my spell list though.
Well, you just started praying, so might as well put it on there. Hopefully
So-
that'll be able to fix it.
Yeah, that's a 0 level spell. That would fix it. So when you examine it, you see it's just snapped completely in a few places, and in other places been rendered useless by stretching. It's stretched to such an extreme amount. And some of the buckles and rings have been broken as well. So it's a complete loss. It won't work at all as it is.
Are you all right with me switching?
Yeah,
One
that's
of the,
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll.
Is he going to have to prepare multiple ones, or should
Yeah,
one
that's
work?
kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you will, because as you get up there to look at it, you see that the track that the seat rests on is damaged as well, and a really large metal pin, about a foot long, like 3 inches, sort of a set pin or a roll pin, keeps the seat attached to the track, and that's sheared in half as well. So you'll have to do.
So I've got 5.
Well, two will
Oh,
do
okay.
it. All right. So yeah, Casimir, you get in short order. You get the fire going back again, and then Ron and Graham just wake up. You wake up because the extra heat from the fire and the cracks and pops from the wood, and the smell, because some of the green wood lets off a lot of smoke, and that wakes you up. It appears as though Casimir just wanted to let you to rest through the night. So yeah, all of your fatigue is gone, and you regain your hit points.
Thank you for
Before
letting me sleep.
Don't thank me. Thank the elements. I slept through most of the night as well.
Right. So Fenrith, one thing you notice is even though you've pretty much healed your rock, she's exhausted. She's barely keeping awake. Right. I mean, she wolfed down that snake, but she's already settled down onto her belly like birds do, and looks like she's about to drift off to sleep. Now, as you look at her and you get up there and you're looking at this harness, you see that it's going to take some good effort on her part to get out of these trees. The ones that broke fell down behind her on the ground, so it's going to be tough for her to walk out. And the space that was created by her breaking trees is higher than she's going to be able to get elevated. She's not going to be able to fly out, let me put it that way. So it's going to be tough to get out of here. And then, while you're up there inspecting that harness, roll a listen check. You hear something large that you'd guess it to be at least 30 feet away, pushing through the undergrowth very loudly off to your north. But you look and you don't see anything. Well, roll a spot. We'll see if you do. Yeah, you don't see anything, but you hear something big out there. Like you can hear its feet hitting the ground. It's that big. All right, what do you guys want to do?
Well, before we can make a plan, I wanted to get some clarification because I think I had conflated the description you gave to Fenrith, if he happens to be on a different island than us, to the one on our island. And that was that the canopy was so thick that the aerial view didn't really help.
Right, when you were flying over it before you landed, yeah. No, you know this is the one he crashed on.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, Graham at least thought he saw.
Yeah, that
You saw the orange feathers, right?
right.
And as you're flying over it, there's not another one
Yeah.
to the horizon, so
Well, okay.
unless there's something else with orange feathers, and you're pretty sure that this is where he crashed. Well, his rock anyway.
He might have been.
Yeah, he was in pretty bad shape.
Well, if you find his rock and not him, then bye-bye, Fenrith.
Yeah, that's
nice
a
to
whole
know
other
you.
set of problems.
Well, okay. That's all I needed to know. So, what should we do today, guys? Back into the forest with the giant, horrible snakes.
I think if he landed on the island, his bird would have made some sort of sign
Path
in
or
the
trail.
canopy. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's this island. I mean, you guys flew in, you saw there's nothing around we could see for so long.
Yeah. I think we should take to our rocks and see if we can find where he may have gone down.
Okay.
Just fly fairly low so we can see closely anywhere that he may have crashed.
All right. I say we also keep the fire going.
Agreed.
Brandon,
Okay, so Casimir, you were asking a question.
Oh, yeah. I was asking if the harnesses on our rocks is something that we need to remove and so they can, I don't know, brush them down or whatever the heck you do with a bird.
Well, yeah, you just have that thought randomly, and then you get that panicked feeling you get when you forget something important because you're supposed to take the whole apparatus off. And you don't need to do anything as far as cleaning. They're social birds, and they'll take care of that themselves. They'll help each other with it. But, yeah, that stuff does need to come off from time to time.
All right. So, do you want to try to wake them up, or is that way you guys can take air, or take to the air, or?
Sure. I'm not too worried about waking up my bird. I don't think it'll attack me or anything.
Should I have done make whole rather than mend? It's a second level. It says it completely repairs an object made of any substance, even one with multiple breaks, to be as strong as new, but not warps, such as might be caused by a warp wood spell.
Yeah,
It
that would
will
work
build
as well.
broken metallic objects.
They'd both work. It just, this one you'd only have to cast once.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess we'll try to wake up our rocks. Or, very least, you could try to just wake yours up and talk to it, see what condition they're in.
True.
Yeah, I'll cast, is it Speak with Animals,
Okay.
and wake them up and see how they're doing.
All right, yeah, so you wake yours up, and you cast this spell, and you start talking to her, and she explains that she's just worn out, she's tired,
Okay.
but she can fly if you need her to.
Yeah, I'll ask her if they can all. Well, I suppose I can ask each of them individually, but ask them if it would be okay to fly for a short while today to see if we can find the fourth.
Yeah, they agree to that.
Okay.
All right, so let's stoke up the bonfire and then take to the air.
Okay.
If anyone sees anything, signal me.
Yep.
Let them eat first, maybe, too. The rest of the way or something.
Yeah. We should have some time while we build up the bonfire that they can eat if they're hungry.
All right, yeah, so after getting ready, they start darting along the beach and take off out over the ocean. It doesn't take very long before they've started gaining some elevation and start circling back around. So, as you make your circuit over the island, more like an atoll, roll spots.
Do you want them in the...
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you're up there for a couple hours, zigzagging around, circling, trying to see. The problem is these trees, they're huge, and the leaves are ridiculous. And so they spread out and touch each other. It's hard to see down in there.
I forgot to have the +4 for the glasses.
Graham, you spot the tiger just inside the tree line close to where you guys' fire is. And then eventually, Rohan, you just happen to spot it because you're flying lower. And so you're looking into the trees rather than over them. And you can see an area where a bunch of trees have been clearly broken or snapped.
Okay.
It's the only thing that you see that could possibly be related to Fenrith.
Okay.
They also could have snapped from the wind, but at least it's something.
Can I kind of mentally mark where that is from where the beach is,
Yeah.
so that I can, like, how far away from the beach is it?
Like 3 miles,
Okay, so it's almost the other side of the island.
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything on the other side of the island where we might be able to land a rock?
No, it's just really rocky ground.
Okay.
It's just piles of rocks and boulders and jagged shards. There's nowhere to land. Okay, well, that's not exactly true. There are a couple of boulders that are big enough that they'd be able to set down on them. But then you got some pretty extreme climbing to do to get into the tree line.
Just jump off and slow fall into the.
Yeah, getting down is not my problem.
Getting back up.
And being able to get him out of the forest is...
So it's the long jungle journey.
Unless we take our rocks and rip the canopy off.
What?
Just take passes and have them,
Rip the trees out.
yeah, rip the top of the trees out.
Do you
But-
think that's possible?
Before we do that, I'm gonna fly back over that place, calling out to Fenrith.
Okay. How low do you want to fly?
15, 20 feet off the canopy.
Okay.
What's the time frame on this so far as like where they're at and where
So now
I'm
you're
at?
about to midday.
Okay.
So what do you want to do? After you've
So-
got all this harness fixed and everything, what do you want to do?
I'll cast Helping Hand, and I will. So it's a ghostly hand appears before me. I give it a description of who I want it to find, and then depending on how close they are, it takes X amount of time, and then it just beckons them to follow it, which it will lead them to me.
Okay.
And I'll
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
so I'll cast that, and I'll describe Casimir.
All right.
Since he's probably the most other familiar with magic.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so you cast that spell and this hand appears and then shoots off into the trees. And what else did you want to do?
Just ready my sword and shield, and yeah, and I don't know if it's be better to stay put or move at this point, but does it, like, looking back the way that we had came in, does it look like it would be plausible to for the rock to take off going that way?
Well, from where you're at, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because there's too many trees. But you can only see... You can't see very far at all.
Okay.
Because of the undergrowth and trees being clumped together, so...
Would we be able to follow the trail that leads in?
At least as far as you see, you'd be able to.
Okay.
So you could get a couple hundred feet. That's about as far as you can see right now.
All right. Yeah. I mean, if it looks like it allows a little more space to maneuver in, then I'll start going off that way.
Okay.
And just kind of beckon the rock to follow.
Okay?
If she doesn't follow, then I'll stay.
No, she follows.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sort of an odd sight, this massive bird walking through the underbrush, but she comes up to where the trees are too tight, and she just pushes through them.
Does it look like it actually? Because what I'm imagining at least is some type of path where we came in, where some of these things broke.
Yeah,
Right.
you're walking over the top of those
Okay.
parts now.
Yeah, it's mainly at this point, with how close that whatever that is to us, is just to give more room to move around.
Yeah. Okay.
So once I find a spot like that, then I'll just ready for it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so you go pushing your way through. And it's real hard going, so it takes a long time to move at all. But so then you guys are up flying around, and Casimir, at around noon, you notice a ghostly hand appear in front of you. And so you're flying along, going pretty fast, and it's hovering a few feet in front of you, and it's keeping the same distance.
All right. I don't know how you.
So yeah, it does the little finger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come hither.
And it starts wheeling around towards the island, towards the center of the island.
I guess I'll take out my mirror and signal whoever
Okay.
that I might have something.
Yeah, well, you guys are all in close visual range.
Okay. And then I guess I'll start to follow the hand.
All right. So on the northern side of the island, it flies about maybe a quarter mile inland and then abruptly shoots straight down
Okay.
through the trees.
So I guess when did he start flying over that area? Was it around this time too, or?
Yeah, I mean, you're all pretty close.
Yeah. So I'll tell them that he's like right below me with mirror signals, and I'll kind of do a tight circle over that area.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I try to get my rock to cry out?
Yeah.
Screech or whatever.
Yeah,
You're
go ahead and
ugly
try
and
it.
no one likes you.
Try your
Just
handle
pull a
rocks.
feather out or something.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, so you hear that, Fenrith. As you're pushing through this undergrowth, you hear the piercing cry of a rock. So you look up, and you don't see a rock, but you do see a shadow passing overhead.
Okay.
And yours answers it with a shriek of her own. So,
All right.
which you hear, Casimir.
All right. So yeah, I'll signal that he's definitely down there,
Yeah.
or at least the rock is.
Yeah, well, anyway, so as you keep pushing, you start to hear the sound of water against rocks, right? Not the bird rocks, but the stones, right?
Okay.
And eventually you break through, and it's a sheer drop to the ocean, probably about 50 feet. And there's boulders and jagged rocks everywhere down there. So,
All right. Does it look like we're high enough that the rock would be able to?
she might be able to.
Okay. Oh,
I mean, probably.
okay. Yeah, I'll try to mount up if I can,
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do so.
and buckle in.
All right. So roll your fly rock skill.
That was a
Right,
pretty
so-
lazy roll.
You give her commands and you got the reins, and she's got the idea better than you. So she doesn't try to take flight. She simply jumps off the cliff onto a boulder down below, and it's out of the trees, and so she can spread her wings, and she
Okay.
takes off from there. So it's a pretty jarring impact, but you got this brand new harness, so you're held in place just fine. Just knocks your breath out a little bit. Yeah, and then the rest of you, within a few minutes, you see Fenrith in the skies once again. With bright orange feathers reflecting in the sun. So, his bird looks like she's got more energy, but she's clearly been wounded quite severely. So,
Looks like she's going through some sort of molt or something.
yeah, yeah.
I guess I'll signal for back to camp or follow or whatever, and head back towards the smoke.
Okay. Yeah, doesn't take you very long before once again you've landed on the beach all together this time.
All right. Once we're all landed, I think I think we should probably rest the rest of the day, maybe even part of the next, depending on how weather's looking. Let the rocks eat their fill and rest up.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I guess I should say, but first I'll clap Fenrith on the shoulder. Had us worried.
Yeah. Imagine, because I'm not fully healed yet, but
You always look haggard.
No, he does look really bad.
yeah.
He does. Yeah. I mean, his armor's the same thing yours does, so it's repaired itself, but like the clothes he wears underneath and around are torn to shreds. There's dry blood everywhere. So I mean, there's dried blood in his hair,
That's all matted.
clumps of it. Yeah, yeah, he looks really bad.
But anyway, this spot seems fairly safe, Fenrith, so rest up. And I guess I'll take off my Roc's harness if everyone's in agreement that we're resting for the rest of the day and maybe part of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Does anybody need healing?
I've got constitution damage, but other than that, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm down 7 hit points.
So there were these.
All right, there's for
ships
you there.
that- right?
Yeah, there's some crashed ships, massive ships. And they're obviously really old.
If we're just going to be kind of camping the rest of the day, they're going to start to pique my curiosity.
Okay.
Let's conspire to go investigate.
I agree.
I'll ask Rohan to if he would be able to talk with my Roc and see if there's anything that I could do, like if it needs additional healing or if there's anything else that I could do to help make it more comfortable or.
I could do that tomorrow.
Yeah, well, he's not feeling 100%. That he's showing the signs of being sick or exhausted, but physically, there's nothing wrong with him that you can see.
Okay.
All right, so Rohan, in talking to the birds, it's clear to you, not knowing how much further the next leg of flight is, that they're going to need more than a day and a half of rest.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'll mention that. I guess that would have been a conversation before we went searching for Fenrith. Because,
Yeah.
that spell only lasts a few minutes.
Yeah, I was figuring that would probably be more.
But yeah, we can... It's a safe enough location.
So with your rest, you would have gotten 1 point of your constitution back.
Yeah, I got one
Okay.
back, so I got 2 left.
All right. Yeah, so after you all land, when it's starting to get dusk, they all take off again to go hunt. Because now they've got more energy and they're hungry. So what do you guys want to do during that time?
Well, I guess we don't need a smoky bonfire anymore.
Do you want to try and get food for us today?
Probably still have food left over from yesterday.
Yeah, it's basically an
Okay.
all-you-can-eat buffet. You don't have any trouble with food here. There's even fruits in the trees.
If you don't mind the snakes trying to eat you while you gather them.
Well, that and all the fruits here wouldn't have been modified to be seedless.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be spitting out seeds. I hear bananas are just chocked full of them normally.
Huh.
I could be wrong on that, but yeah. I am kind of curious about those ships too, though.
Yeah.
You want to explore the ships?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, so what looked like 2 ships to you as you approach it, you realize it's just one, which would mean that it was just enormous. So it's got the general shape, but it had at least 2 masts. It probably had more, but now there's just a bunch of wreckage laying in the water, and it's sort of stuck into the sand, so the tide doesn't take it back out to the ocean. But there's a large opening in the rear of it, and you can see that the interior of that one, there's nothing in there.
Just completely
So it's
rotted
just
out.
Rotted, empty.
Giant barnacle now.
Pretty much, yeah. There's barnacles all over it. And then the other section is the same. You can't... The part that's open is jabbed into the ground. But you look up and there is a door that leads in. But so much of the wood's rotted away, you wouldn't even need to go in there. You can just stand next to it and look in, and there's nothing there either. There's nothing to give any clues or hints as to where it came from or how long it's been here, except for a long time.
Does it look like it's meant for someone of our size?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about.
Is there any, what is it called? Like a figurehead? Where the mermaid would be or something?
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
Okay.
You don't see anything there.
Well, that didn't pan out.
Yeah, you leave disappointed. Although it is a discovery in itself because it's so huge.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the boats that your people make.
Well, I guess if we ain't doing too much, I guess I could spend the next several days or something scribing spells.
Okay.
Could I try and, I guess, gather some potion materials?
If you want. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, it is dangerous in those trees. So, Rohan, you don't know any terms like island gigantism, but you do know that it's really strange that the animals are so big on this island. That's not something you've seen before.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just...
It's odd to you that a tiger would be that big, knowing how much a cat that size would need to eat, and the relatively small size of the island. It's just odd to you that it worked out that way. But
I'm going to scout in the forest a little bit. I'm not going to go too far from the beach, like far enough in that if I need to, I can run back out.
Okay.
While, trying to maintain sneak, hide, and a watchful eye for vipers that I might step on.
Be careful for that cat. I saw him sniffing around the camp when we were flying. Right?
Yeah.
Was that something I saw?
All right,
I think I did.
Fenrith, what'd you want to do?
Pretty much just take it easy today.
Okay. All right. Right. So on the first day, you don't see anything, Rohan.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say anything. You see insects by the trillion, and you see birds of every different color and all colors. You see little sea animals on the beach, that sort of thing, but you don't see any large creatures.
Okay. All of this will be pretty interesting to me because this is a whole new natural environment.
Yeah. Yeah, with new animals you've never seen before.
Yeah. Even new insects,
New
flowers,
insects, new
trees.
fruit.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So it'll be 3 days, well, 2.5 technically, until the birds are ready to fly again. So we'll skip that time unless there's anything during that time you guys want to do. So Casimir will be working on his spells.
Yeah, that'll take up the first day. I think on the second day, I'll see if I can do some, try to find some pearls, check some oysters. We're going to be eating them anyway, probably.
Oh, oysters. I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I need some fairly good-sized pearls.
Because I can help him with that on the second day.
All right. So on that day, you guys go looking, and off to the right of that ship, on the other side of the rocks, it's rocks and then a drop off of, you can't tell how deep. But that's where you get to, and you're searching along the beach, you get to that point, and you start going down and looking, and you see that it's about 30 feet deep, but you see a lot of really large clams down there.
All right.
They would have a chance to have pearls in
And
it.
it's underwater, or is it just...
For that day, I can, if I know that that's what we're going to be doing, I can prepare water breathing.
All right, and we're probably going to want to... Well, if you got water breathing, I guess you don't got to worry about drowning.
Well, I can do me and you.
I'm talking about your armor, is what I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Because your swim check's going to be...
I can. Let's see.
But like I said, if you have water breathing, I guess you don't got to worry. And it's like not an inlet, but like a pool or something, or...
No, it's the ocean. It's just there's no beach. It's just the end of the island and a straight drop. So
Yeah, I can cast water walk as well.
We need to get under the water.
Yeah, for when we need to come up. Because if it's cast underwater, it takes you up at 60 feet per round until you can stand on it.
what's the name of?
How are you going to cast it underwater? You need silent spell.
I do have that.
All right. Do you have enough slots to prepare it at high enough?
Yeah, I'd have to prepare it as a 4th level.
Okay.
So both of those are 3rd level, Brandon.
Yeah. Okay.
As I'll prepare both my 4th level slots. I'll prepare water walk as a silent spell, and then I'll prepare two to 3rd level as water breathing. So updating the list under war domain spells.
All right, so one casting will hit both of you. It'll hit whoever you're touching.
Of which one?
Water breathing. You cast it once, and it would work on you and
Oh,
Casimir. But the duration's split between you, and that would give you 7 hours each.
That should be more than enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we got any sort of sacks or anything like that, just take a sack down there with us, and we'll just fill it up.
Okay.
Take all of them back to camp, and while we're splitting them or something like that, deshelling them.
Oh, well, there are some you could put in a sack that there's others that are as big as, like you. There's some that are as big as one of your rocks.
Oh, okay. Like we're talking like Legend of Zelda clams and stuff. Okay.
But yeah, there are plenty that are, dinner plate sized.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll have to go with those. I mean, any of the bigger ones, if they got a pearl in them, it's like overkill.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think we'd be able to even get it up.
Oh, I'm supposed to grind that up and eat it or whatever it is, too. I don't know if I could
The
eat
whole
that.
thing. Oh, man.
Do you want like a spellcraft like survival roll for seeing how many I can find, or
Hang on.
I guess we could both do it
Yeah.
because you need them too.
All right, so you step off the rocks into the water, and you go straight down. Pretty quick. I mean, you still weigh, right? So you got your armor and stuff, and you start sinking down. You can breathe just fine. The pressure starts to really bug you as you go, though. But just for a moment, and then you get acclimated to it because you're breathing the water. So you just slowly sink down, and when you get there, it's really dark.
Should have
Like,
cast light.
Even
Yeah.
low light
I
won't
didn't
work.
think about that.
So that's what you realize as you get down. You're like, oh, we can't see anything.
Well, I guess as we're sinking, I could try to swim back up to the surface and do that real quick.
Okay.
Doesn't the ever-burning torch work underwater, too?
But
Yeah.
I think that Graham has that.
Let's see if I got it prepared. Wait, our armors and weapons glow like a torch.
That's true. So you could see 5 feet around you. That seems fair. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe a little more. Yeah, we'll say you can see a little bit more. So anyway, you get down there and you got this blue glow, and it casts over. There's a whole world down here. So you see just a massive field of so many different kinds of creatures, and you got the kelp as well that you've got to contend with, but it's like swaying in the water, making like a little forest, and then you've got seahorses, which you've never seen before, floating by. Extremely brightly colored fish of different shapes and sizes swimming around, and massive schools too. And then you see this school of fish that, they're like the size of maybe your fingernail, but there's infinity of them in this massive cloud swimming around. A lot of stuff going on down here. So we'll say in that time that you have water breathing, do your survival. We'll see how many you manage to get.
Spellcraft or survival?
Yeah, spellcraft.
Dang it.
Can I do survival for mine?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that doesn't affect how many you find. So you fill up your sacks with clams.
Okay.
Right. So let's say it's about hour 6 when both of your sacks are full.
All right. So
And So were you going to cast this?
Yeah, so I'll cast Water Walk. Prepared it as a silent spell, so I'll use up my level 4 slots. I'll cast Casimir first, and then, although maybe I could probably hang on to you, but
probably.
it doesn't make difference really. So I wonder how far we got pushed out. But yeah, I'll cast it on Casimir and then myself.
All right. So you go to cast the spell, and then you see, like, you guys are standing next to each other down here on the floor of the ocean, and you see this just at the edge of your light up above, this massive shape hover over you. Right? So you look up and you can see the outline of a shark. Right? But it's at least 80 feet long.
Poke it in the eye.
It just slowly moves over the top of you. It's not like coming for you or anything, but you do see that massive form float over the top of you. All the other schools of fish, they're all taken off at the very side of this thing. So. But you cast that spell, and in 3 seconds, you're up at the surface. So it shoots you up there, like jarringly fast. But there you are standing on top of the water.
What time of day is it? Down here, like 6 hours. So
Yeah, so this is like a couple hours before dusk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we got enough light. I'll suppress the glow from my weapons and armor, and then kind of set a brisk pace back to camp.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No problem. But you do look back in time to see there's enough sunlight to make you able to see into the water for a little bit, and you look back in time to see that shark swim back the other direction. So, it looks like it might be able to eat one of your rocks in a few bites.
No, thank you. It can
Yeah.
stay in the water.
So you guys have seen sharks before. You have sharks back where you come from, and the biggest one that you've ever seen was probably about 15 feet long, maybe a little more. And you saw that after it was dead and beached. Right?
Yeah.
This thing, it's way bigger. Anyway, you get back to camp and you've got your bags of clams. And like I said, these are the size of dinner plates. So you each have got about 15 of them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, well, yeah, share them with, you guys can help yourself and start shucking them.
Yeah. Might want to.
Or am I thinking of oysters? Yeah, either
boil
way.
them in their shells.
Yeah, I'm thinking of
Or bake 'em.
oysters. You can eat them raw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just probably boil them then.
But we need to check them first. Every time I got anything related to the ocean or water, fishing, I fail it so badly.
Okay. So here's how we'll handle if they have clams in them or not, or pearls in them or not. Just make some rolls here. So, all right, Fenrith. So, Ron and Graham, what did you guys want to do while they're walking around the bottom of the ocean?
Oh, going into the forest was going to be every day while we're here.
Okay. What about you, Graham?
Well, I suppose I'll go up and down the beach looking for things of interest. I also have a ring of water walking, so I have not had the chance to try that out, so I might go out on the waves. And
You can join us under the ocean if you want.
would that be like a
Under the sea.
balance check on waves? How would that be? Moving ground,
Water
basically?
walking says that you can,
You treat it just like ground.
yeah, just like normal ground. You can even walk. You can walk on any liquid though. So
Lava,
even
yeah.
lava walker.
Quicksand.
Yeah,
Gotta worry about that. Well, if the ground were coming at you like waves, that's what I was kind of curious about.
Yeah, you got them.
but you
Yeah.
hover. Yeah, and it says you hover 2 feet above that whatever the surface is. So I don't know if it
okay.
would elevate you up if a wave was
So it
coming.
wouldn't be like you're on this surface and it's moving.
Yeah,
You're just above it.
Yeah, even
So you would just get like,
You find 6 pearls.
me.
No,
Or-
Casimir.
okay.
well, yeah, it'll just be, like a childlike activities to pass the time.
Sorry, it's an inch or two. I apologize.
But yeah,
Above.
like depending on how that spell description is, it
Says
might
that you
essentially
can
be
walk,
like a-
run, charge, or otherwise move across the surface as if it were normal ground.
but it might be just like essentially a levitate spell, so it might be always keeping you upright type of thing.
Well, I think the way he described it, it's what I was kind of curious is if you would feel that friction of the surface moving beneath you, but you're not actually on the water. You're some distance above it, so I don't think it would be as bad.
You find 4, Fenrith.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what you find between all those clams. And a lot of clam meat to eat as well. Yeah, so Graham, you go out walking, and first of all, the waves or whatever doesn't really affect you. You just sort of hover above the surface of the water. Although it doesn't feel like that to you. It feels like you're on something solid. But you go walking out there, and you see just an insane amount of creatures under there. They're being pushed in by the waves and tumbled up to the beach. But there's crabs and lobsters, and you see a few sharks. Not massive ones, smaller sharks. You see that. You see starfish and things of that nature all down there in the surf.
I guess I'll get my hook and line going, try to drag something up.
Yeah, you see a lot of fish too. All right, yeah, go ahead and roll your survival.
All by myself. Don't think I get anything. Caught my boot again.
Pull up an
Yeah,
old
so
tire.
you throw your line out there, but you don't manage to catch anything. But you see every kind of creature tumbling along the waves underneath your feet. None of it so far is anything you haven't seen before back home. Okay, and then Rohan, so the second day. That day, you see the tiger again.
Okay.
So as you're heading out, and you're walking along on the map there, you're walking along that face there that leads up to the next level. And you're heading around to go up so you don't have to climb. And it's right on the end there, laying down, looking out over the beach. And it's doing that thing where it looks around, but its eyes look closed, that thing cats do.
Okay.
And it clearly sees you, but doesn't seem concerned.
So it doesn't look like it's going to attack, or...
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Like you spot it, and so you stop and you're looking at it. That's right now. It doesn't look like it's going to attack you. It clearly sees you, but seems to have no interest.
I kind of want to do the Ranger Wild Empathy check to see if I can change its attitude towards me to be, rather than being neutral, to being...
No. I think I also would have told you that it had a chance to pounce me and Graham at some point, but didn't. It rudely bumped into us, however, when it walked past. Chaotic evil.
Possible that we just wouldn't look like any meal worth
Yeah,
killing and
what
eating.
Are these things?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's monkeys here. We might kind of resemble them to it.
Right, but the tiger was quite large. I'm sure there's, some things tigers just don't mess with because they're so small.
Right.
But maybe not.
Too much energy, not enough nutrients.
Yeah, I think that's always the struggle with those animals.
Influencing NPCs.
So you're going to go off and do a stare down with this cat for several minutes?
So now that you're looking at its full length out in the open, you can see that from nose to tail, it's about 20 feet long.
Okay.
And standing up, its shoulder would be about 6 feet off the ground.
Okay.
Right. And it's got those black spikes everywhere sticking out of it as well.
All
It's
right.
got a reddish tinge to its eyes.
Can you tell if it's venomous or not? Or poisonous?
If I prepared the right spell, then I could.
All right, so you wanted to do...
There's the Ranger Wild Empathy check that you can use on wild animals.
Yeah.
It's basically diplomacy.
Go ahead and roll it.
If I use Speak with Animals at the same time, would I get any kind of bonus or anything?
Does it say you do?
No?
Well, I'll give you a +2.
Okay. In the tower, or...
No, go ahead and roll it out in the open.
Okay. Not quite enough to make it friendly, but...
What did you add to it?
I added my Ranger level.
Yeah.
I get a +2 for the Speak with Animals, get a -2 for my Charisma, and a +2 for my Handle
I don't have that, so you can have mine. I don't have anything that takes pros.
All right,
Okay.
so
So 4 more.
So that should move it to friendly.
yeah, it does. It does. It moves it to friendly. And you can tell by its body language that it's friendly towards you. Has no ill wishes. Still a cat,
Yeah.
so it's still laying there, switching its tail and looking out at the ocean. But
Also means it's going to pop up out of nowhere when we're on a different island. Thanks, Justin.
As long as I don't rub its belly, though, it won't try and scratch me.
'Cause it'll come burrowing out of Graham's rocks
yeah, so
feathers.
did you want to do any more?
If
With
we're
the
here,
tiger?
if we're here for another day, then yeah, I'd continue to try to improve relationships with it. And
Well, you
Yeah.
won't see it again tomorrow.
okay,
You are here for another day, but you don't see it the next day.
okay. Well, then once it's friendly, just get up close to it and examine it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so the size I already described. Up closer, you can see its stripe pattern, and its teeth are massive. Obviously, it's just an awe-inspiring creature to look at.
But yeah, with the speak with animals, I'll ask it if it would like food. We have some crabs and other meat down below.
Says he's not hungry.
Okay.
Says he ate yesterday
Okay. The boar?
or the day before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll ask if there are more of its kind on the island or...
All right. So in this conversation, you get the sense that whenever it's mating season, he manages to find someone to mate with, and that's all the information he has about if there's more tigers, right? And like when you ask if there's more, he sort of bristles, right? Because there shouldn't be. This is his territory, right? And he doesn't want any. But when it's mating season, he finds someone to mate with.
Okay.
I got the image that this is actually the Disneyland island, and that it's his brother that's also here that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The shark was probably actually a mermaid that could eat one of our rocks in 2 bites.
Yeah.
So I guess on the 3rd day, I'll scribe another spell into the old book.
Okay. Yeah, well, the 3rd day, the birds make it known that they're ready to fly again.
It's starting to get anxious,
Yeah.
nudging at you when you're trying to do stuff.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially Grams. They're in a hurry to go. And you had seen in the night that star, and so you know which direction you need to go.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to try to, before we leave tomorrow, maybe put something up on a high peak or something. Maybe if we have a spare mirror or something so that I could catch light.
If the inside of these shells are as shiny as some are, have that mother of pearl look to them,
Yeah.
we might be able to set up something like that.
So yeah, it's that way when on our return trip, if we come this way, we know that there's land this direction.
That's
Maybe
good thinking. Give
set it up
yourself
on the
a
mast.
hero's luck.
I already have one.
We'll take 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you think maybe set it up on that mast?
Yeah, that does stick up pretty high. But there's trees nearby that go up even higher.
Oh, are there? Okay.
Like these trees, by the way, are the same sort of trees you have on your island. They're just twice as big as any of them has ever gotten.
Right.
These palm type trees. There's trees in the bowl forest that are deciduous or that are like evergreen, and they're way bigger. But these are twice as big as any palm trees or fruit trees you've ever seen.
I guess what we could do is thread up some cordage real quick, and we could thread it through a bunch of these shells, and then I could kind of wrap it around it near the top or something, Christmas tree it essentially. Maybe hopefully catch light from about every direction so we could have a better chance of seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
So I guess instead of learning a spell or scribing a spell into my book on the 3rd day, I'll be stringing
Okay.
oyster shells or clam shells.
All right. Yeah. So anything else then? All right. So following Rowan's directions towards the star, you take off, and birds naturally get into formation, and you start heading back out again over the open ocean. It's not too long at all before the little island you camped on disappears from sight, and once again, there's nothing in the world but you and water. Sort of looks like this. And it gets to the point once again where it gets sort of boring being up there. You don't even really see any of the creatures like the schools of fish or the dolphins or the whales, really. So for the first entire day, as the sun sinks down below the horizon, you don't see anything at all. But it is good weather, and the birds are at a decent elevation. It seems to you that they're higher than they were on the first leg, and the air seems more substantial here. And then the sun disappears and the stars wink into existence in the sky overhead, and the moon casts everything in that blue glow, and you fly on through the night, coasting on the air pockets that the rocks find. So there's nothing of any interest you saw today. Is anybody going to try to stay awake through the night? Okay.
I mean, I only need 4 hours, so yeah, I'll take my 4 hours and then wake up. Not really much else I can do.
Okay.
I'll try and stay up through the night and then sleep the first part of the day, just so I can make sure that we're following the star the whole way.
That's not a bad idea.
Okay.
I need a will save.
No. You're not wounded. You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So then you do spot the star bright and clear up in the sky, and you are on the right path.
Okay.
And then, before you know it, the sun comes up, and once again the world is bright and sunny. There's not many clouds in the sky. It's sort of a clear day. And you're flying in that direction towards where that star was, and there's no reason to deviate. And up ahead, you see, long before you even register that you see a massive column of clouds up ahead that you're approaching quickly. And it looks unnatural. It's a massive column of black clouds, almost perfectly cylindrical, at least from what you can see of it. It stretches from the surface of the water all the way up into the sky,
Okay.
seeming to reach for the very stars. Black with flecks of gray swirl on its edges, and lightning forks across it in random directions almost constantly. So that's what you approach. So the closer you get, the more of it you can see, and that literally is like someone built a column out of clouds from the ocean all the way up as high as you can see.
Okay. So how far across is this?
Probably about 100 miles.
Okay. So we could circle it in a day, but
No, you couldn't circle it in a day.
in a full day?
Yeah, you couldn't circle it in a day. Because you're going like 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that's as big as, this face of it you're looking at is about 100 miles. And then it goes around, and when you go in a circle, necessarily you travel further. So it'd be
Yeah.
more than a day.
Do you mean just skirting around it?
No, if we went all the way around it.
Oh.
It's 100 miles across. That's, what, about 400 miles around?
Yeah, you might be able to.
Is this
Assuming it doesn't change shape.
Yeah.
is this happening when we're asleep? Or when?
No, it's daytime
Okay.
now. You see it. It's about midday of that second day.
So I guess I'll signal to whoever's in front of me so they can pass the message on. Is this where we're going? Is what I'm asking to Rohan up in the lead.
And this is where the star was leading, right?
Yeah, it's actually kind of spooky to you because it's like if you went there and walked straight up, you'd get to the star. It's like perfectly where that star is located in the sky.
Okay. But yeah, I'll kind of bank to one side and kind of skirt around the outside of it and see if the star does stay directly above.
Well, you're not seeing the star right now because it's daytime, but when you swoop around to other sides, that's that's what you see. Is it's cylindrical in shape.
Okay.
And we see no land, just a straight column.
Yeah, it's the blackest clouds you can imagine. It looks almost like someone took scissors and cut a part of the world out because it's so black and dark, and it's set out so much from the ocean and the sky surrounding it.
Do we get any feeling from the rock as we approach it? Any feelings of apprehension or?
Yeah, I mean they recognize storm clouds, and they had a recent bad experience with them, so.
I wonder what experience that was.
They're not excited about it, but they resolutely carry on.
Okay.
But circling around it or going in to one side or the other reveals no openings.
Okay. And how many days have we been out here now? This is our second day or our third?
This is the second day since you left the island,
So we're going to need to rest soon.
the small island.
Yeah.
They might not even be strong enough to make it through the cyclone. And it's not like we know that there might be an eye in the center of that or anything. It could just be all cyclone.
Yeah.
They might not be able to get back out once they go in.
And it probably goes up higher than we can fly, right?
Yeah, way, way higher.
Okay.
Seems to stretch up to outer space.
At the very least, we should probably wait until nighttime, see if the star points us past it, and this was just in our way.
All right, how's about this? I'll signal to Rohan, because this is a very tall column of... So we have a marker, so we'll circle out or fly in a bunch of various locations, see if we can spot land and meet back up here around nightfall. That way, either way, we kind of
Yeah.
have
that works.
a potential area to land real quick and rest our birds.
Yeah. So we'll range out in different directions looking for land that we might be able to rest at.
Yeah, okay. Well, you don't see any land,
Okay.
right? And how close are to this are you going to fly?
I'm going to stay about a mile away at least.
Right. So the weather stays awesome. So just a really nice, warm, light breeze throughout the day.
Okay.
But as you split in the different directions and look off there, it's so clear you can see, all the way to the horizon. There's no land. And no breaks in the clouds either.
Yeah, it's looking like we're going to go in.
Yeah. Well, then our options are either go back to the island that we found, rest for a day, and then come back and just go straight into it,
No.
or just bite the bullet and dive in.
Yeah, I say we wait till nightfall like you want, and then we bite the bullet. Make sure that star's still over it.
Yeah.
So is that the plan?
And Graham,
think so.
Fenrith, you good with that?
Yeah, and that
Can't be as bad as the last time we went through a storm.
could be could be worse.
Don't be like that. Where's your faith?
It's smashed against a tree back at that island. Yeah, and that's
Okay. All right. So you take you fly in your circuits or whatever, but then night falls, and when the stars are visible, you see this is right where it's pointed, Rohan.
Okay. So yeah, once I see that, I'll signal to the rest of them and check my harness straps and tighten them down, then make towards the cyclone.
Okay. You guys gonna follow him in?
Mm-hmm.
yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'll put my seat where it's real low, close to the bird, and
Yeah.
in we go.
Okay. All right. So you push ahead, and once you get within a mile of it, it's like the world changes, and then rain and wind assails you out of nowhere. So you push ahead as though an invisible wall was breached. Wind and rain begin to assail you seemingly from all directions. With no point of reference, it's difficult to tell if you remain on course, because now you're back in these clouds. You can't see each other. You can't see anything, for the most part. With no point of reference, it's difficult to tell if you remain on course, but you sense that you are so far. And your rocks now struggle mightily to keep forward momentum, flapping their great wings and shooting through the dark clouds like spears. Lightning is near constant, creating a stomach-churning strobe effect as your companions seem to teleport from one place to the next. And that's the only time you can see each other is lightning. And it's weird, too, because it sort of spider webs across the clouds. It's a pretty awesome thing to see if you didn't have to worry that it was going to hit you.
I'm also going to proc my armor and my weapons to glow.
Okay.
Just to maybe give a point of reference to the others.
That's a good idea. Give yourself a hero's luck.
Yay. I can use it for another
For
climb
good
check.
thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So once you get into the clouds with all the wind and the rain, you're going to have to control your rocks again. So make a hero craft skill check.
Ah.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right. All right. So you push on. Lightning strobes across the sky, and that's Casimir. That's when you realize that you've been separated. Although you're still basically with your companions. You've just been separated by a couple hundred feet.
Okay.
But you're going in the right direction. So you push on, and then you don't know how long for sure. 2-4 hours maybe. And then without warning, you break out of the clouds and darkness. The wind, the rain, and the lightning stop so sudden it's as if they might have never been, if not for the evidence apparent in the water streaming off your rocks and ruffled feathers. But as suddenly as that ended, new weather appears. After the briefest moment of freedom from the wind, you're assailed again by a new wind, cold and biting, and carrying flurries of ice in it. Now you stare ahead at a monstrous stone wall that reaches as high as you can see. Snow and jagged rocks adorn its sheer surface. The extreme speed that had been required to push through the clouds now threatens to be your end as you hurtle toward the jagged rocks. Make another hero craft check to pull up in time to avoid smashing into the cliff face.
Apparently, imminent death is good for our rolls.
It's usually when I stabilize.
All right. So, yeah, you grab your reins and you pull, and your rocks manage to turn. Although 2 of you go in one direction and 2 go the other, but you do manage to avoid the cliff face. Although Graham, yours actually pushed off with its talons, so you hear this loud scrape of talon on rock, and you feel the impact, but don't take any damage from it. So, but yeah, so now Graham and Fenrith are headed to the right, and Casimir and Rohan are headed to the left. But now you've got a feel for it as you skirt along. And the wall's dangerous too because there's these massive updrafts of wind. There's a sweet spot that you find in between the wall and the clouds where you have to fly really, really tight in this spot. Because if you veer too much towards the clouds, you could get sucked out there and once again be threatened by the lightning. And if you get too close to the wall, the updrafts might slam you right into it. So the sweet spot is exceedingly small. So you'll need another hero craft fly rock skill check.
Tempting fate here.
Mm-hmm. Each roll brings us closer to death.
Okay, so Graham, Rohan, Fenrith, you find flying in this sweet spot to be downright pleasant as you stream along. But Casimir, you're not so lucky. So you have a 50%. We'll do 50% chance you're slammed into the rocks, or 50% you're sucked out into the clouds.
All right.
So roll a percentile. Okay, so that's the rocks. So the wind just grabs you and slams you right into the cliff face. And so there's going to be some damage from that. But there's a 5% chance that you're angled such that you take that damage versus your bird. So 1 through 5% and you take the damage.
All right, so it's the bird.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys have a character sheet for your birds.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, you'll have to keep track in your head of hit points here. So your rock has 207 hit points. And so Chris, Fenrith, yours takes 38 damage from slamming into the rocks.
Casimir.
Or sorry, Casimir.
Was it 38?
38, yeah. So this updraft catches you, and just quicker than you can even think or try to react, you feel this thump that reverberates through your bones as your rock slams into that cliff face. And she shrieks and she pushes off with her feet and gets back out into the sweet spot. But she's flying a little rougher now. So now you're back in the sweet spot, following Rohan up ahead.
I'll secretly blame Graham. Graham's making a note of that. Dang it.
All right, so you guys were going to the right. Graham and Fenrith to the left. Okay, so Rohan and Casimir, you continue flying along to the right, and that's all you see. As a matter of fact, here's sort of what you see. This is not exactly. This is just a representation of what the scenery looks like on that cliff face. Just with some snow and ice on it. But it's pretty sheer and jagged looking.
Okay.
Cool. I was picturing the ice wall at the edge of the world. So
There's another one. So it looks like that, and it rises as high as you can see. Pretty much flat. And so you fly along to the right of it, and that's all you see. And on the other side is those black clouds with the lightning streaking a spider webbing across it. And so you stay in that sweet spot, or at least you try to. And eventually you're turning, and you're making a wide, round circuit of this cliff face.
Does it look like it's short enough that we may be able to get our rocks on top of it?
No, like literally it rises higher than you can, like as high as you can see looking straight up. It just stretches and stretches.
All right.
And even I will say that you think with some skilled piloting, some of the rocks that stick out from the face are so big that your rock might be able to land on it with their talons. They won't be able to do anything on there, but they could hang on to it.
Okay.
But to get that close, then you're threatened by the updrafts that might slam you into it. So.
And down below, it's ocean all the way up to the cliffs. There's no land
Yep.
or anything down below. Okay.
Yeah, just ocean.
well, there might be something. We just ain't seen it yet. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
All right.
I aid you in a spot check or something, and we kind of alternate looking up and down, trying to see
Yeah.
if we can find some sort of, I don't know,
Yeah, we can keep circling. We'll eventually come back around to,
which point we have to joust them.
yeah.
Okay, Fenrith and Graham, you fly in the sweet spot, making a circuit of the rock face. That seems to go on endlessly when you see a break in the wall, and you have just enough visibility to see a dark sandy beach beyond it. So you're going along to the left. So off to your right, you see this sheer mountain face, and then down below you, pretty far down below actually, you see a break in the rock, and like sort of a giant window carved out of it, and you see a sandy. This is about 200 feet below you. You see sandy beach.
So would we need to make another pass for that?
No,
Okay.
no. Like you could angle towards it now with no problem.
All right. Are we starting to curve around as well, like they were, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where the curve starts.
All right.
Is there anything you can cast that would be visible when we circle back around? That way we could signal to these guys if we pass them.
There's the ghost hand again. Didn't prepare it.
No.
That's a few
Do you have
miles.
light prepared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like cast light. So I'll do that. I'll signal Graham to try and land,
Okay.
and I'll veer my ruck in the same direction, and then I'll cast light on it or the harness, something that will hopefully use as a signal towards these guys.
Do you have to touch it to cast?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So you angle towards that, and you see that, Graham. You see him break off and head down. And when you get closer, you still got that wind to contend with, but you break through it pretty quick because it's not as bad there. And you have just, right as you push through the wind, you're in a brand new environment. This one, dark and foreboding. So the air is choked here with thick ash that falls to the ground lazily in large flakes. The sun overhead shines weakly, sickly even, through the cloud of ash, and your vision goes only to where the sand of the beach stops and a massive wall begins, this one man-made. There are enormous guard towers on each side where the wall butts up to the mountains. A sort of window has been made in the mountain wall, whether by men or by magic or nature you can't tell, but the man-made wall rises almost to the rock above. So you can see this massive gate right in the center of it, and you can see firelight atop the wall and figures moving to and fro. And you also see a number of what can only be described as massive crossbows, the size of wagons or larger. As for the beach, far from the pristine white sands of your home, this one has dark, muddy-looking sand and is covered with rocks, animal carcasses, and corpses. There's only one small section on the right side that seems suitable for both landing and staying out of sight of the watchers on the wall. So let me give you a picture here. And let's see, Green and Fenrith. All right. So I'll unmask what part you can see. So that's what you can see. That big wall, the massive gate, and then those towers. And then above those towers, the mountain starts again and continues on up straight. So it's just like a little window that they've built into. And then you see only one section that looks suitable for landing. And that is over there to the right. Yeah, so that's the only one section you can see that looks suitable for landing, and it's out of sight of the watchers on the wall. So there's little doubt in your mind what the purpose of those massive crossbows are for. So what do you do?
Well, is that the first one through?
Yeah, I'd signaled to you to...
Well, angle my rock towards that location. Yeah, I'll angle my rock, which I've named Tempest, by the way, towards that safe area.
Okay.
Did you just steal my rock name?
You said it first.
That was a joke.
I wasn't sure if I had actually said that before.
You know, it's kind of weird because I thought he had just told us out of game and was reaffirming it for the.
Yeah, for a second there, I doubted my own memory.
That's how good of a thief Graham is.
Yeah.
All right.
Stole
So
the
then,
name right off your rock.
Casimir and Ron, as you finally make it around in your circuit, you spot the same thing that I just described. And you can see Fenrith and Graham angled low going in for a landing.
Okay. And nothing else our entire circuit around?
Nothing.
All right.
Nothing. So as you land, you spot a ledge on the mountain face about 20 feet up from the sandy ground. And through the darkness and ash, you think you saw an opening. And the ledge itself is slanted upward, and it's not large enough for a rock to light on, but the surface seems to offer handholds for climbing.
All right.
So it's this ledge that's up above you when you land.
Okay.
All right, so first thing I want to do when we land is check my bird, see if it fared okay during the passage through.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll inform Fenrith that she was slammed against the rocks
Yeah.
of the mountain and see if he can heal her.
Yeah, you can clearly see that Casimir's rock has taken some damage. The rest of them seem fine, though.
Thank you.
Do you need more?
I think she needs like 12 more, but she should be fine with that. Unless she gets hit by a ballista. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, after a little bit of healing, Casimir's rock seems a little bit better. And now you're all huddled in this little, well, it's not that little, but this section where the mountain blocks you from view of the guard towers. What would you like to do?
What time of day was it when we came in? Before we entered that cloud?
It's still before sunlight. Well, no, sorry.
Yeah, because we went
Thinking
in
of the wrong day.
at night.
Yeah, so it's late morning.
You guys want to continue on or rest, I guess?
How are we feeling? Are we fatigued?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't anywhere near what the first storm was. Because you were only in there for a few hours.
All right. How's about we rest on top of that ledge then?
Okay.
Maybe let the rocks figure out if they want to do anything.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't think we should remove the harnesses on them.
No, just in case we need to try and fly out quickly.
So how far up is that? Just 20 feet?
Yeah.
Real easy climb?
Yeah, pretty easy.
All right. Do you even want me to
You'll
roll?
Yeah, so everybody still do a climb check.
You gotta remove your exhausted still, John.
Oh,
I don't know if that helps you at all.
I took it off.
you did. Okay.
Well, it'd be
Well, I mean, he rolled this.
All right. Yeah, so it's easy enough for you all to get up there. You get up and it's this little shelf. It's angled upwards a little bit. And then about 10 feet away is the mountain face again. And you do see a small opening up against the mountain face. So it has the vague appearance of a lopsided, toothy mouth. This melting rock cooled in the rounded shape of teeth. And only the left side of the roughly 10-foot opening is large enough to fit through.
I'll motion for Graham to go sneak up and check it out, or do you want to, Rohan?
Yeah, I can go check.
All right.
Yeah, I'll kind of do a hide and move silently as I move up to it.
Okay. Yeah, so you would have to crawl to get through. You'd have to squat all the way down and shuffle forward, or
Time to fight the battlements.
crawl on hands and knees into the opening.
Not going through another spladunking.
No.
Would you move through this at full speed, or is it only undergrowth?
It's just undergrowth.
Oh man, that'd be so freaky.
Yeah, I'll tell them to stay behind, but I'll venture forward a little bit, see if it opens up.
Okay.
Well, we're not following you. We're letting you do your sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are kept in this uncomfortable position for the span of about 50 feet. But then the ground slopes sharply downward and you enter a large rounded tunnel made by flowing lava or an abominably oversized earthworm. The roughly 20-foot diameter tunnel stretches ahead to the edge of your vision before angling lazy to the right and upward. It's almost perfect circle, and let me give you a picture.
It's 50 feet of an utter nightmare for my character.
Wasn't that bad. I think we all look back fondly on that.
That was only like 4 weeks ago.
That's a rough idea of the shape of it.
Okay. So it's a Tremors tunnel.
There are worse things than trimmers in this world.
Yeah, true.
Here's a,
I guess they're technically called
yeah,
grab claws.
so that's what it is. It's a crazy rounded tunnel. And you can see on all the stone that evidence that it heated and then cooled.
Okay.
They've all got like rounded, bubbly surfaces
I
like
think
that.
I know what made these.
Kind of glassy in some areas.
Yeah.
All right, I'll call back down the little tunnel back to the others that were on the other side to come forward.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you hear his voice echoing out, telling you to follow.
Yeah, I'll start going.
And I'll have my bow glowing and put it at the end of the tunnel so they can see the end.
Okay.
Not quite that aggressive, but No arrows pointing down.
Yeah, so his bow does shine through, and it lights it up pretty well for you. So you'd have to go through single file, and you've got to be either on hands and knees or squatted all the way down, shuffling like a crab or something.
Okay.
It's a pretty uncomfortable position, but you can manage it.
So it's not nearly as tight as the last set of caves we went through. Okay.
Yeah, not as bad as that.
So Rohan was just overreacting when he sobbed the whole 50 feet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and eventually you all join together inside there in that rounded tunnel. So once again, you find yourselves underground, and this is warmer than other times you've been underground, but it's not quite to the uncomfortable point just yet. But all the things you had been hearing, all the wind and the rain, things like that, now all that's gone. And so you just have the sound of your own footsteps echoing on the floor and things like that. Your companions breathing.
Had we seen anyone in the towers when we flew past?
Yeah, well,
We
you've
saw
seen
people on the
forms
walls.
walking back and forth on the walls.
Okay. I mean, Isle of Penance, maybe we should have asked them, let us in. Surely a bunch of good guys were all here. So this tunnel essentially goes left or right to us?
Well, when you went in, it's actually,
Or does it just curve around?
it'll go in a straight line
Okay.
ahead of you, and then it lazily curves upward into the right at the end of your vision up
All right.
ahead. So.
You want to scout, Rohan? Graham?
I would
let's go.
probably suggest Graham, since we're going into territory where there may be something that he can take care of.
Okay.
Because we don't know what's in this tunnel at this point, so...
Well, I don't know. I figured it's a natural environment, technically.
Yeah, this is seem like a natural environment, not like a man-made or worked stone structure, right?
Right. Yeah, it's completely natural. You can tell it was made from lava flows,
Okay.
which is in keeping with the ash that you saw outside. So, all right. So who's leading?
It's up to Graham or Rohan to decide that. They'll be scouting.
I don't want to step on any domain toes here. I'll go ahead and let.
Well, how about we just have me go first, then you, in kind of the opposite of the way that we would go through a dungeon.
Sounds
We
good.
can both be out a little bit ahead scouting, but
And then, like always, I'll take up the rear, even though we have no pack animal anymore.
it's Fenrith.
I'll
I wouldn't be in the rear anymore.
get on all fours and crawl along for him, make
Guess
it
we
more
do have a bag of
comfortable.
holding.
Yeah, if you can do that, you got to put the bag of holding on your back.
Yeah.
I'll give you a carrot.
Apples?
No,
Oh.
Sugar cube?
only good boys get sugar cubes and apples.
Salt Lick now.
I'll trip you.
Oh.
But you get a bonus because you're a four-legged creature.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Brandon.
I'll kind of take the lead, and Graham will be right behind me,
Okay.
hopefully looking for traps.
Well, as you walk, you don't see any evidence at all that anybody has ever been down here or anything. And the tunnel doesn't branch at all. And so you walk for the better part of 4 hours without seeing anything. So as you walked, it had curved upward and to your right, and it continued that upward curve and went straight from there quite a distance before curving around back again in the original direction you were headed. And now it's a slight incline. So slight, very slight. It doesn't really register, but if you laid down on it in a sleeping bag, you'd be annoyed because you'd keep sliding to the end of your sleeping bag.
Hmm.
So it's still there, but it's not like it makes you tired to walk. The ground offers really good footing on with your boots. There are some times where you come across what looks like water running down the walls a little bit. But other than that, there's no sights or sounds. It's just quiet and hearing your companions' footsteps marching along through this cavern. And that's after about 4 hours,
Okay.
which would be past noon now.
Okay. Take a break and eat something and then continue on.
Yeah.
Grumble about ration food after the feasts we had on the beach.
Yeah. All you can eat seafood buffet.
Real good seafood buffet if you liked any sort of shellfish.
Yeah.
Right.
When we first landed, is this ash that's always falling? Is it enough to where we would want to cover our face?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really thick.
Yeah, I don't know if we have something, some sort of handkerchief or whatever we keep, but I'd have done that.
Yeah, in here it's not. There's not any ash, but out there definitely was. So, all right, yeah. So you sit and you have your meal. Let's see. Everybody roll a listen in the tower. Okay, Graham and Rohan, you're eating your ration food and, in general, disappointed by the taste. And you think to yourself, pretty soon I'll gain no nutritional benefit from rations whatsoever when you start to hear a click, click, click from down the tunnel. So everything has a weird little echo. So it's impossible to tell if it's right around the corner or if it's a mile away, but it's like the clicking sound of a crab's pincers maybe,
Okay.
or someone trying to start a fire with flint and tinder, maybe. But you hear that.
Is this a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man thing where our daydreams about eating crab again? Summoned a monstrous crab?
I was just trying to think of the most harmless thing I could imagine. You
But-
could say it, John.
It doesn't need to be said.
But yeah, hearing this, I'll kind of put my ration away and stand up and ready my bow.
Yeah, when I see him do that, if he doesn't say anything, I'll do likewise, except my trident instead of bow.
Okay.
What do you hear, Rohan?
I'm not sure, but something's up ahead.
Right. So the rest, so Fenrith and Casimir, you don't hear it. You're just going off their word for it.
Mm-hmm.
And once these guys once you all stand up and get ready, it stops.
Okay. News coming from ahead of us, right?
I think he said
Yeah.
it. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, up further ahead.
Okay.
Well, I know between me and Fenrith we make enough noise to attract a whole army, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
scout ahead. Be alert.
So yeah, we'll continue onward.
Okay. All right. So up ahead, after, well, are you all heading out again, or are you just going ahead without them?
Those two are scouting again.
Okay. So up ahead, you come to a section where then it widens out significantly, this tunnel, and some really large stalagmites jut out of the floor. And you can sort of see, because it has a curve to it, you can sort of see that it continues further in this same direction off on the other side of this cavern. But in this room, you've still got the evidence that of volcanic activity, lava flow activity that created this. And there's this dim glow to the room, and you can see patches of the floor. There's holes, and you can see flowing magma underneath it.
Has the floor prior to this been warm or anything?
No.
No, so
No.
it's just this area.
So roll your spots and listens for that room.
I feel like I trained for this exact situation my entire childhood by laying down couch cushions and jumping
Oh.
from couch cushion to couch cushion.
Floor is lava.
Yes.
Thought you were talking about rolling dice.
No.
Sort of. More like your early adulthood.
Yeah.
Man, hope those ones are just getting out of your system there.
Me too.
But the plus 15, I mean,
Yeah, it definitely helps. If you didn't have the negative wisdom modifier, you'd be right up there with me.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you kind of want to give it some time. There's both excitement and kind of a loss of fun when you get a skill to a point where you don't need to roll it anymore.
Yeah.
Though it does speed things up, like certain ones, like Maddox, when he was always jumping all over the place, or use magic device where it activates, and if it doesn't blow up, so we're good.
I always felt like we got right to the cusp of the GM doing difficulties that would require those heroic ones, which would make it kind of fun again, where you're doing the crazy stuff. Like,
Yeah, I think Maddox could almost double jump if he max rolled.
yeah.
Yeah, and what was that thief's name I had? I think his name was Talon. He was right on the cusp of being able to tumble at full speed through an enemy's area without provoking.
I always wanted to get escape artist enough to where I could fit through like one of those, like a 5-inch hole or whatever it is.
Yeah, like a rat.
Yeah, just dislocate everything. Bit more than a rat, because they can go anywhere their head fits through.
Yeah, how would you get your head through? You'd have to
Double jointed skull.
It's more like a squid.
Yeah.
That's not even something I really want to picture in my head.
Don't squids have to worry about their brain, though? Is that the ones where if they eat
Yeah.
something too big, they'll get themselves brain damage?
Yeah. It's just ridiculous
That's how I feel after I ate Taco Bell.
that you gave yourself brain
I gave myself brain damage.
You must have had brain damage before you even went there.
I had a
Yeah.
hard shell taco of brain damage, like a couple Taco Bell visits before. Like, I went to pick it up to take a bite, and the entire bottom of it had become soggy and just fell out, so all the meat just tumbles out onto my plate, and it hurt my brain.
It's like those descriptions of when they always pick up napalm victims.
Oh, no.
That's what happened to your taco. The shell just sloughed off.
If somebody told me that Taco Bell meat was napalm, I would probably believe them.
Should try to let it on fire.
If it was napalm victims, I'd
It's
believe
actually
it more.
just wood
Yeah.
pulp.
Yeah.
All right. So with your spots, you see nothing, but you do hear clicking from up ahead. A little bit, quite a bit louder now. So as you can see in that section there, you've got the two stalagmites that are like melted stone pillars from floor to ceiling there. Otherwise, the ground is the same texture and what have you, but there are glowing spots where there's like a hole, maybe a foot square, and you can see magma pouring through it or flowing underneath it really slowly. So this room is way warmer.
So when we see those spots with the magma, can we, like, how thick is the ground, the solid ground?
Well, and the ones that you can see, it's like an inch of stone.
Okay.
Is Rohan going to have to attempt to try to find a path through this without us finding
No.
something too hot or busting through?
No, not in this room.
Okay.
It's pretty clear where you can walk.
So yeah, I'll take the lead on as we head through here.
Okay.
But we'll wait for the others to catch up to us.
All right.
You hear a clacking from up ahead, and from behind you, you hear what sounds like someone with a metal trash can full of rocks.
And you guys walk up with metal trash cans full of rocks. What are you doing?
It masks the sound of my armor makes when I walk. Always thinking ahead.
Plus, it's old-timey CrossFit for us.
All right. So Casimir and Fenrith catch up to you.
Okay. Then I'll start making my way across, trying to find a path that doesn't take us directly over any lava patches,
Okay.
while keeping an eye out for whatever's making that clacking sound.
All right. So your path takes you to here. So this, you can see the rest of this room, except for just the other side of that second stalagmite there. So your path takes you to here, and roll initiative.
Looks like we're back at it, Graham.
8, 9, 18, 19.
I need to clip Rohan, though. It's just a little too fast for me.
All right, everybody make
Try and catch me.
a listen and a spot, except for you, Rohan.
In the tower?
No, just open.
Dang it. We're both of those the same thing.
About a
Three fours in a row there.
Well, I accidentally double-clicked the spot, but Yeah, they were all 4s.
All right, so Rohan will be the only one able to act this time when, from around this stalactite over here, this comes rushing out to attack you. So,
Grab people.
Mm-mm.
right, so this thing comes stomping out, and it's massive. It's humongous. And it looks something like a cross between a giant ape and a beetle. And it's got a low, rounded head that's dominated by a massive pair of mandibles that are just click, click, clicking over and over. And you can see rows of triangular teeth behind those. Has 2 big compound eyes like a beetle's with 2 smaller eyes like an ape's in between. Armor plates cover virtually all of its chitinous body, whose scattered feelers resemble sparse hair. So this thing, this particular one is 8 feet tall. It's, it's really big, and it's got these massive pinchers, and it comes tearing around, making this high-pitched shrieking sound and clicking at you as it charges. So it'll come attack you, Rohan.
You ready to get a little loco, Rohan?
Always.
So it's it's not something any of you have ever seen before. It looks like out of a nightmare. And you can see that its armor plating, you can just tell by looking at it how tough it is. And it's got sort of a shine to it as well. Right, so it comes out, and here, let me...
Unfortunately, I can't help but picture Zoidberg after all the grab jokes now.
Yeah, so it's got these massive claws that it rakes you with, Rohan, for 12 damage.
Okay.
And that brings it to your turn, Rohan.
Okay. Does this thing have reach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll 5-foot step back and full attack. Which I can't remember. Does that provokes an attack of opportunity, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Is that still what you're going to do?
Yep.
Okay. Swipes at you with its other claw. Critical hit.
All right.
How you doing? You're
We'll
doing
see.
fine for now.
For 22 damage.
I definitely felt that one.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So it tears flesh and blood sprays across the floor, and its mandibles keep clicking.
Okay. I'm going to fire 3 shots at it.
All right. So 2 arrows hit it
Okay. I'll just say that one critical miss was
for 13 damage.
it ripping me apart.
Yeah. Bumped you.
Right, so a couple arrows managed to penetrate its chitin, but it doesn't seem to notice or care. Is that your turn?
That's my turn. I'm kind of assuming that the rest can see this thing by now.
All right, Casimir.
I will attempt to cast shield. I succeed in casting shield. And
Okay.
then I will move up to there. Would that still be safe?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll move to there. And that's my turn.
Part of that move already, my trident.
Okay. Oh, actually, I lied. That wouldn't be safe. He'd still be able to reach you there.
Well, I didn't mean like safe. I mean just not.
Oh,
Moving
provoke.
out of-
Like provoke? Okay.
But
All right.
I can move to next to Rohan. I'm fine with that too.
Okay. All right, so it'll swipe at you again, Rohan,
Okay.
with both claws this time. So one claw hits, and then it also will bite you. Or wait, okay, okay, it did bite. So both claws, one hit, and the bite missed as well. So here's your damage, 9 damage.
Okay.
And Then it moves behind that stalagmite there. And now it is Graham's turn.
All right.
So Bloodtooth is like outright jubilant in your ear. He's like, finally, we get to do something. He's got to have some spaces in between the plates on his back.
All right, I'll set my dodge, activate my haste boots, and try to jockey for position. I'm going to skirt around the far wall up to this pillar and then hide behind it, I guess. I'll tumble if necessary. I can't quite remember the reach pattern on large, but I think I was safe for the most part.
All right.
You should be.
You were safe the whole time.
Okay, and then let me get you my hide.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
All right. Pass it along. Fenrith, your turn.
So I'll move up behind Rohan and heal him. The cure serious.
Okay.
So 3rd level.
All right, Rohan, your turn. Now, you can't really see him from where you're at.
So if I move, take a 5-foot step back behind
Yeah, then you can see him.
Casimir, and then I will do another full attack on him. Just not being able to pop out windows thing's annoying.
Remember to target him.
All right, all 3 of your arrows strike. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Do you want me to roll the damage individually?
Well, nah, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, but all 3 of these break through its plate, and it rises to its full height and lets out a high-pitched scream.
Okay.
And it's when it brings its head back down, it snaps the shafts off with its mandibles, and that brings us to Casimir.
I will charge it, so attack opportunity from it.
Okay.
Let me change my... Let's see, what would it get? 30? It hit anyway, so I don't need to change it.
All right, so it does 9 damage to you as you approach it.
Alright. And I will minus 4 from my attack and add it to my damage.
Okay.
Actions. Did it roll? What the heck here? So, miss.
Miss, yeah.
Alright.
But we'll say that it's just his armor's too tough, so your trident slides off of him.
Alright.
So it's going to move over here, and then it looks directly at you, Casimir, and you feel an odd feeling.
Will save? Oh.
It's going to do it for you.
Okay, I see.
Something happens. You can't quite describe it. It's like you had a question for a second, but then it's gone.
Is there any way I can tell what caused it, or
You know it did.
it did something?
Yeah, it did something. But
okay.
it didn't do any of the like casting spell things. But it did have that feel to it.
Alright, so I'll try to, if I can, I'll free action try to warn them that it has some ability, some
Okay.
unknown ability, try to do something to me.
Okay. Let's see. It will also attack.
Let me make sure my AC is correct. It is.
So it'll claw at you and hits for 11 damage. And that brings us to you, Graham.
Okay, so I'll either kind of remain hidden and skirt around that stalagmite, or I'll tumble into flanking if necessary. What's your call on that? If I can move there, I don't know if.
I'll cheat because I'm your friend in real life and tell you should tumble.
Okay.
So roll for, yeah, okay. Yeah, so it did somehow know you were there. And as you tumbled through it, it turned to swipe, but it was nowhere close to you.
Okay.
Somehow it knew you were there.
So I'll pause there for a moment and look over this creature and try to pinpoint any weak spot. I'm not seeing anything here, Bloodtooth.
Well, it's really thick chitin plates overlapping each other, overlapping others and stuff.
It's an aberration as well.
It's an aberration.
Well, not seeing a visible target to try a sneak attack, I will distract it,
Okay.
attack defensively, and aid Casimir's next
Okay.
I'll take attack.
attack roll. Okay.
It might not even survive that long if it's heavy damage already, though.
Let me. So I missed him, but I got the aid part of it.
Okay.
I'll
So you got a plus
T-pose to assert dominance.
All right. That your turn?
Yes.
Okay. That brings us to Fenrith.
I'll heal Rohan again. Another Cure Serious.
Okay.
Do we just hear you grinding your teeth every time we get hit?
No.
Or is it what you
Gives
live
me
for?
something to do. And then I'll move there. I don't know what his range is.
It'd be 10.
That
Okay.
would provoke.
So let me...
Well, would him moving into that spot provoke? Or would he have to move out of that spot to provoke?
That's true. Yeah, you'd be fine there.
Okay.
He would just... I keep mixing it up. He would... I'm telling you, you'd be within his reach, not that you would get an attack of opportunity.
Oh, okay.
So on his turn, he would be able to hit you from where he's at.
I can go right
What
there.
I'm trying to say. Okay. Ron.
Okay, so if I move up to here, can I see him well enough to take a shot?
Yep.
Okay, I'll move up. So I'll move up behind Casimir, and then
Stack on tank.
do my many shot. So 2 arrows. Where's that? 2 arrows with 1 shot.
It's a hit. All right. It's 2 more arrows sticking to him. You can tell by how much shaft is remaining that those 2 went in pretty far, and it shrieks again.
I hope so. I'm standing like 7 feet away from it.
Brings us to Casimir.
All right.
So you got the aid from me and the flanking bonus.
Oh, okay. Let's give myself a +2.
Yeah. Wait. I got +4 coming my way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so +0, so I don't minus or add. I'm going to -4 from my attack, which is negated by flanking and
Okay.
aid. And I will add that to my damage, and I'll attack the Umber Hulk.
All right. That's a hit.
All right. And then I will add 8 to my damage, because I'm wielding the trident two-handed.
All right. Yeah, so you step into it, and you really bust right through the plates there, right into the soft tissues underneath, and it stands to its full height and shrieks again. And it tries to rake you with its claws one last time as it falls to the ground, dead.
All right.
So it falls to the ground dead, although it's still making noise, thrashing around a bit, and mandibles are going crazy as it, spasms, but that threat is over. And it's then that you realize, now that it's quiet, you can hear an odd sound, like a crunching sound is the best way to describe it. And so you're looking around, and it's echoing in here, so it's hard to tell where it's coming from. But as you're looking around, you see the rock of the right wall burst apart, and another Umber Hulk steps out of this tunnel. It burrowed its way out of the rock, so it comes out into the cavern, mandibles clicking menacingly as it looks around. This one's larger than the one that you just fought, though it takes up the same space. It's a little bit larger, you can tell.
All right.
And that's where we'll end it for tonight.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
what'd you name your bird, Travis?
Gyre.
Definition?
It's a current in the ocean. It's like where things swirl around. This has been a Death Watch production. Thank you for listening.